Welcome back. Today, we'll cover the misconduct hearing of Police Inspector Chris Russell, who served in the Metropolitan Police Service. This video will provide a detailed breakdown of the hearing, including an analysis of the findings and the final outcome. The hearing addressed allegations of misconduct against Inspector Russell, who faced two specific charges under the Police Conduct Regulations 2020. Firstly, discreditable conduct. His actions or language could undermine public trust in the police service. And secondly, equality and diversity. Breaches in this category involve discriminatory conduct that undermines the values of equality, fairness, and diversity within the police service. The allegations against Russell were based on WhatsApp messages exchanged between him and other police officers and staff members. These messages contained offensive, discriminatory, and, in some cases, racist and homophobic language. Despite being part of a closed group chat, Russell's position as a senior officer meant he should have been aware of the potential harm such behavior could have on the reputation of the police service.
Racism and homophobia from a senior officer, no less. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If the rot runs all the way to the top, what hope do we have? So, what kind of stuff was in the WhatsApp group?
We have several specific examples from the messages that were cited in the hearing. But first, a trigger warning, as we will be using the officer's words which could cause offense, and we suggest skipping to the time marked on screen if you wish to skip them. On the 11th of January 2021, Russell sent a message in the group chat expressing mutual hate toward another staff member, referring to them as a dyke, and making a violent suggestion, "I'd love to watch it go up in flames." On the 27th of February 2021, in another chat, Russell used offensive language to describe people in custody, calling them "six cunts." On the 23rd of March 2021, Russell sent a message so bad all the details had to be redacted, which was part of an inappropriate conversation with another police staff member. On the 20th of June 2021, Russell made a vile comment about a person hit by a train, wishing harm on a colleague by commenting, "I hope it was Sam." Finally, on 27th August 2021, Russell engaged in a conversation about cricket, making highly racist comments, including saying, "Fuck India." "Dirty packies," followed by a disturbing remark about dressing up as bombers. All of these are serious breaches of professional conduct and severely offensive. These examples reflect a pattern of behavior that demonstrates a blatant disregard for the professional and ethical standards expected of a police officer.
I keep hammering on about this, but what's the point of a vetting policy if this is the kind of person who's getting through? And here's the thing, people don't just wake up one morning and decide, today's the day I become racist and homophobic. No, this officer will have had these views for God knows how long. But I bet nothing is mentioned about looking back through his history to see if his discrimination has negatively impacted members of the public, especially those who ended up before the courts.
The hearing was conducted under the Police Conduct Regulations 2020, and all necessary notices were served to Russell ahead of the hearing, including papers sent on the 31st of July 2024. Despite Russell not providing a Regular 54 response, the hearing proceeded as he had been properly notified. While Russell did not make any representations at the hearing, he was represented by his Federation representative. This allowed the proceedings to continue in his absence, as the breach was sufficiently clear and serious. Russell did not contest the allegations of gross misconduct, but he did not formally accept them either. He resigned during the investigation, which further indicated his unwillingness to confront the matter.
Not only is he scum, but he's a coward too. But to be fair, one of my major gripes with these hearings is when they take years to be held. And during that time, the officer is still collecting a paycheck from us, the taxpayer. So, even though the scumbag ran from his actions, at least we, the public, were spared from lining his pockets.
The hearing found that Russell's actions were intentional and deliberate. These were not accidental or thoughtless remarks. They were part of a clear pattern of inappropriate behavior. The fact that they were shared within a closed group chat doesn't absolve him. As a senior officer, Russell should have known that his conduct could still harm public confidence in the police service, even within a private setting. The racist and homophobic language was deemed to have the potential to cause significant harm to the reputation of the MPS. If these comments became public, they would have been viewed as completely unacceptable by the general public and would have severely damaged public trust in the police, particularly within marginalized communities. The panel also considered aggravating factors. Given the heightened awareness of police misconduct in the public sphere and the ongoing scrutiny of the police, Russell's behavior was an aggravating factor. The comments were made by a senior officer, and such behavior reflects poorly not just on him, but on the entire force. Russell also failed to intervene or challenge other officers involved in the same inappropriate conversations, which further worsened the severity of his misconduct. When the panel looked for mitigating factors, none were found. Russell's resignation was not considered a mitigating factor, and no other elements were presented that could reduce the severity of the breach.
His resignation should be seen for what it is, a coward running from the consequences of his actions. Forget the thin blue line nonsense. This one has a thin yellow streak. And does anyone else get miffed when they use language like, given the heightened awareness of police misconduct in the public sphere? I mean, when I hear that, I think, given that people can now easily find and disseminate the findings from these hearings, we feel like we have to appear tough on this kind of thing. But hey, maybe that's just me.
In line with the seriousness of the misconduct, the hearing concluded that the only appropriate outcome, had Russell still been serving, would have been dismissal without notice. Any lesser sanction would fail to adequately address the gravity of the breach, and a strong message needed to be sent to both Russell and others within the force. This outcome is seen as essential to maintaining the integrity of the police force, deterring similar behavior from other officers, and restoring public confidence in the service. The severity of the language used in his messages, his failure to challenge others involved, and the absence of any mitigating circumstances made this decision unavoidable. So that was the case of Inspector Chris Russell. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.
You want to know where my mind goes with this case? It goes to all the stories online about people being arrested for online posts that someone finds offensive. While I don't agree with those arrests, I can't help but feel that these messages should fall under the same scrutiny. But I guess that would be expecting too much. Anyway, I'm done with this sorry excuse for an officer. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more updates. And, as always, stay informed, stay aware, and remember, accountability matters.